Now it's time for a nice antithesis to the previous video, which is interesting because the characters are pretty similar, Sakuya and Youmu are. This stage, I went back and watched my first uploaded video run through of this stage, and I was listening to myself, and I really wanted to slap myself for how I was disparaging this stage. So I've come to realize after playing it enough that I really, really like this stage. This is an excellent stage, probably the best of the 8 original stages, because this stage provides an excellent challenge, and it's a very, very difficult stage, but it's a legitimately difficult stage. There's no cheap difficulty involved here. Every piece of difficulty that arises in the stage can be if it's approached with proper reflexes and planning and strategy, it can be taken out. It's very doable difficulty, but it's a lot of difficulty. And I remember watching myself saying, "Oh, I hate this stage." And no, whatever I said in the past about the stage, ignore it. This is an excellent stage. This particular recording of this is actually not a part of the rest of the run-through, the original run-through that the rest of these videos have been a part of, because that Youmu run-through, it's been recorded and uploaded and whatnot at this point. That one was notably not as good as this. I was almost embarrassed to put it up. I figured I eventually would anyway, just for the sake of having them all up, but I was not going to put commentary over that one. I was just going to put commentary over this one. This stage is divided into 3 segments. The first segment that's already passed is the Komachi segments, and that one introduces a very annoying aspect of the help you're going to get in this stage. Is the fact that power-ups tend to disappear off the bottom of the screen. In the case of Komachi segment, it's because there's just no floor for them to land on. But with the case of the 2 staircases, if you watch power-ups that get generated from enemies below the stairs, like that guy right there, if he had generated a power-up, watch for power-ups that spawn there. You'll find they just fall straight through the ground and fall off into oblivion. And this can be very taunting near the end of the second half, near the end of the second staircase there, because you're going to want power-ups at that point. The first staircase here. Oh wait, not the Komachi yet. Komachi segments, you have to get yourself very familiar with the way those 3 different types of ghosts work. You have to figure out how to be able to stream them all so that you know which ones to shoot when and which ones to just let go so you can focus on other more important ghosts. There's a lot of strategy and planning involved in that section. Make sure you don't get yourself knocked off the boat. The first staircase there, nothing too terrible there. Probably better to go through it as Alice because she has the piercing laser like that. I don't know why I went through it with Marisa. I guess I was just feeling like a lucky Deadeye there, being able to shoot so many of them while they were still on the ground. You really don't want to rush through that segment because then guys will start popping out of the ground and jumping all over the place, and they'll be next to impossible to hit. It makes that section a lot more difficult than it needs to be. And believe me, with this segment coming up right now, this is all the difficulty you need in this stage. It's just this the second staircase, the third and final stretch of hell in this particular stage. This is probably, outside of Remelia and a couple of other notable boss battles, this is probably the best example of Nanmaku dodging in the game, because there are just shots all over the place in this section. And you have to be very careful. See, there you go, there's the power falling off the bottom of the screen. You have to be very careful that you take your time and strategize and plan accordingly to see what fairies are going to be on the screen when, where they're going to be on the screen when you can shoot them, when you can just leave them and focus on other fairies. It's the first section on steroids, except you at least have a floor all the way across this time around. Because whether you're dealing with multiple types of fairies, the red bouncing ones are going to be the most obnoxious ones, because not only are they bouncing, now they're bouncing down staircases, which means they're not even bouncing inconsistently. And sometimes they will hug up against one of those blue yin-yang orbs like this one right here, and it makes it impossible to shoot them because the blue yin-yang orb gets in the way. And you don't want to deal with more than one of those spreads that they fire off if you can. Then there are the purple fairies that are either launching V shots at you or they're launching streams of shots at you, and those come from different angles, and often the ones launching the stream shots are going to be out of reach, so you can't shoot them. So you end up having to do a whole bunch of stopping and starting and dodging and weaving back and forth. And it's all reflexes, though. None of this was particularly planned beyond just what I saw coming into it and having played the stage enough. I don't have any real outline of the stairs memorized. It's just I saw stuff as it came. And you gotta take your time, or the stage will overwhelm you, as you will see later, or if you just go back and watch the original video that I made when I was doing the 1cc of this game. Youmu, a lot of people had difficulty with Youmu. Youmu is very approachable, as long as you do the same thing you do in the stage that you did. As long as you do the same thing here as you did in the stage. Youmu is a battle you don't want to rush into. You want to take your time and plan. Everything she throws at you can be dodged in some way. And most of them are trivial, like the slash you can just jump over, or you can wait for it to time out. The one real tricky attack of hers is those arrowhead shots. That sometimes you'll need a little bit of luck to dodge those. They don't do too much damage anyway, so I wouldn't worry too much about them. The trick with Youmu, of course, is to stay on the same level as her. You'll note that there's 3 distinct levels. There's 3 distinct heights in the room, and you want to make sure that you're on the same one as her at all times to make sure you'll be able to shoot her. Seems kind of obvious, but it's something you don't want to forget.